Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to one of my favorite meetings of the year, our Career Day. My name is Roger Heitzig. I'm the immediate past president of this club. I'm filling in for Christine, who is running a little behind schedule today. So I'm going to go quickly here. First off, I was told if you don't have a seat, find a seat anywhere, and then we'll worry about finding your chairs at your career clusters later. So if there's an open chair, other than mine, feel free to take it. If I started introducing guests, it would take the entire time we have allotted today. So I would like to acknowledge our guests who've come with members today and anybody who was in our Discover Rotary session earlier. If you just stand up real quick and be recognized. Thank you. Somebody. Anybody. Welcome. All right. I have Christine's thought of the day for y'all. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is your ideal life. First, you have to begin exactly where you are. Then one step leads to another, which leads to another. Know that sometimes there may be 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. Be patient with yourself. Take your time. Walk slowly. And trust that with each step, you are making progress on your 1,000-mile journey, wherever it may be for you. Would you please rise for our pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So with that, I'd like to welcome Pam, who organized this whole thing, has done it for years and always does a fantastic job. So thank you, Pam, and come on up.
Very much.
I'm sorry. I just want to grab my folder out of your way.
No problem. Thank you. This is amazing. This is the best crowd we have ever had as long as I've been involved with this. Thank you. Thank you to the 3 schools who are here. It's, as Roger said, it's also one of my favorite days of the year. I love seeing so many future leaders here in the room with us. We want to thank Greenville Tech for Technical College for sponsoring us. They're paying for your lunches and parking for some people. We also want to thank, and please stand and wave your hand when I call your name, Jean Shu with Greenville Technical College and her colleague Karen Rogers. Oh, come on, Jean and Karen, stand up. These guys have worked hard. Jean and I emailed each other like 24/7 over the weekend. It was constant. Allie Stone from Christchurch. Where's Allie? And Ms. Haynes from Legacy Early College. Thank you. So like I said, this is the best turnout we've had in a long time. I'd also like to thank the Rotary greeters who helped everybody find their way here. Anybody who, Jim Perrier, Jay Handler, whoever helped find the students find their way here and in their seats. Would you please stand? Oh, come on. I know you're here. We have seats for you. The Rotary greeters, the Rotarians and Greenville Tech professors, we have 2 from Greenville Technical College, Erin Bushillen, if I'm saying that correct, and Catherine Friedman. They're hosting roundtable discussions. And students, I want to tell you, you have pens in front of you, and in the packets on your tables, the host will give you worksheets. I want you to take, you don't need to do them right now, but when you do the discussions, I want you to take those with you. Any swag that's on the table, it's for you to take. I don't want to take it home. And the kind members that brought it, they don't want to take it home either. So that's all for you. We're fortunate today to hear from 3 Rotary members about their career paths and to gives us some pearls of wisdom. Amy Wood, news anchor from Channel 7, will be interviewing Wade Kolb, a lawyer with Weiss Law Firm, Jeff Pettis, owner of That One Painter, South Carolina, and Nora Nicholas, managing artistic director and CEO of Center Stage, giving each of them about 3 minutes. Before they start, Elizabeth Razor will let you know about some incredible Rotary opportunities that are available beyond today's event, and then she will introduce Dr. Kerwin Graham from sponsoring Greenville Technical College.
I want to say a special thank you to Pam and her husband, Terry. They've done a great job coordinating all this. So thank y'all so much. Let's give them a round of applause. Hello, everyone. I would like to share some wonderful opportunities for students today. The first opportunity could change your life. Have you ever thought of living abroad, experiencing a new culture, and making lifelong friendships? If so, the Rotary Youth Exchange may be just for you. Rotary Youth Exchange is an amazing study abroad program giving people like you, young people like you, the chance to spend a few weeks or even a whole year living in another country with a host family, attending school, and immersing yourself in a new culture. This opportunity is available both before and after high school graduation. To qualify for the Rotary Youth Exchange, you need to be between 15 and 18 and a half years old, academically above average, open-minded, and willing to embrace new experiences. If you've demonstrated leadership and want to represent your country as an ambassador, this could be a perfect fit for you. The best part, students are hosted by local Rotary clubs. Each is provided room and board with a caring host family, free school attendance, and even a small allowance. Participants are responsible for airfare, insurance, travel documents, and extra spending money. If you're excited about the Rotary Youth Exchange, reach out to our District Youth Exchange Chair, Wade Cleveland. He'll be able to guide you and your parents. Let's make your dream of studying abroad a reality. The second opportunity, this summer, how would you like to have a fun week of making new friends from across the upstate and developing your leadership and teamwork skills? Sounds interesting? Then consider applying for the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, known as RYLA. RYLA is for rising juniors and seniors. This camp focuses on developing leadership skills. There are seminars, workshops, and team building activities. The aim is to empower participants to become effective community leaders. This year, RYLA will be held at Erskine College from Sunday, June 14th to Friday, June 19th. That week, you will hear inspirational speakers, work with counselors and other attendees on projects, and compete with other groups. An added bonus is that RYLA graduates are eligible for a $5,000 per year scholarship to Erskine College, and should they elect to go there or also be accepted to Erskine. If you are interested in participating in RYLA, please ask your school counselor to complete and submit a recommendation for you. Applications are due April 25th, although I think I maybe have seen on a piece of paper it was April 10th. If you are accepted for the RYLA program, our Rotary Club will sponsor 2 students, and this will be of no cost to you. The RYLA fact sheet is at each of your tables. Use that information to get started on your journey to leadership today. We hope to see you in RYLA in June. The third incredible opportunity is the Service Above Self Scholarship. This scholarship is designed for students who have a strong interest in volunteering and also have a scholarship financial need. If that sounds like you, please listen. The Service Above Self Scholarship offers $2,500 per year for 4 years, totaling $10,000. This can make a significant difference in your college journey, helping you focus on your studies and your passion for service without worrying as much about the finances. The application is available online and is due March 23rd. If you're interested, make sure to grab one of the flyers with the QR code that is on your table and get started with your application. Remember, this scholarship is not just about financial support. Our club wants to recognize and encourage your commitment to making a positive impact through community volunteerism. I hope you will consider applying for this fantastic scholarship opportunity. To recap, please take action if you're interested in the Rotary Youth Exchange, RYLA, or the Service Above Self Scholarship. Now I'm happy to introduce Dr. Kerwin Graham, who is the Vice President of Student Services at Greenville Technical College. Thank you all for being here, and thank you so much to Greenville Tech for your generous sponsorship of today. Dr. Graham?
All right, good afternoon. Again, I'm Dr. Kerwin Graham from Greenville Technical College. I serve as the Vice President of Student Services, and I'm here to welcome you on behalf of Greenville Technical College, and also I bring you greetings from our President, Dr. Larry Miller. Today, I just want to spend a few moments just talking to you a little bit about who we are, what we do, and why Greenville Technical College might be one of the most smartest steps that you can make moving forward and in your career. Greenville Technical College serves thousands of students every day. We offer over 100 programs that are spread across 5 different schools, and that's our advanced manufacturing and transportation technology, arts and sciences, business and computer technology, engineering, technology and professional studies, and health sciences. At GTC, you have 2 main pathways. You can train directly for a career in fields like nursing, welding, IT, automotive, advanced manufacturing, and more. And then you graduate and you go straight into the workforce. Second, you could start your educational career at GTC and then transfer to a 4-year university. GTC is accredited by SAC-COC, which is the same accrediting body of the 4-year colleges that you're used to hearing, Clemson, all the big 4-year universities. We're accredited by the same accrediting body. And so therefore, transferring to one of those institutions is very easy, and your credits will transfer along with you. Again, one of our biggest pluses that you can have by coming to GTC is that we are very affordable. You can save thousands of dollars by starting at a career and technical college, and then, of course, transferring. We have many options in financial aid and scholarships and workforce funding as well. Our graduates go on to work for some of the biggest employers in the county. So you can see that we are supplying Bon Secures and Prisma, which is one of the largest employers in the county, Fluor, GE Verona, Michelin, and others as well. Some of our, we call them points of pride or recent wins. We're definitely a military approved school. So if you are a dependent of a veteran or something like that, then, we do have services available for veterans, dependents, and spouses. We have been recognized by one of 55 community colleges in the country and the only community college in South Carolina to participate in the Aspen Institute's Unlocking Opportunity, where we focus on creating economic change and impact in the community by our students and them graduating into well-paying jobs once they graduate. If you are interested in applying, we have a QR code that you can just take a quick pic of, and that'll take you straight to our application where you can, again, apply. If you are ready and you're a senior, and you can apply for financial aid, and we have many staff that are there that will be able to help you through your enrollment process. So again, we definitely would love to have you, and we're also available to answer any questions as well. So thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to talk to people who have had successful careers and learn about their career path. I want to welcome up our panelists so they can get settled on the chairs up here. We have a number of folks that are going to be talking to you. Wade Kolb, who is a former president of this club, but is in his career path a lawyer who started out back in the day as a high school teacher. So he's going to talk a little bit about his career path. We've also got Jeff Pettis, lawyer turned paint company owner, who is going to be expressing his path and how he had some twists and turns along the way. And Laura Nicholas is the CEO of Center Stage. I don't know if you've been there to see a show, a play, or some fantastic entertainment, but she is the one kind of coordinating all of that, and she has an interesting career path as well. She's one of those folks that kind of had the eye on the ball a little bit younger, so if you're one of those people sitting there going, I know exactly what I want to do, she might be your person. Also, her dad did not go to college, so she was kind of forging that path forward as somewhat of a first-generation college student. So if you have those kind of questions as well, she's going to be fantastic for that. Now, do we have a microphone for you guys to pass around? We do. Okay. So I've given the overall broad brush, but I want you to each to kind of take a moment to introduce yourself. We'll start with Wade. Wade, give people a sense of your journey.
Sure. Thanks, Amy. I was indeed a high school teacher after college, middle and high school teacher. I went back actually to the school that I graduated from. So think about that, those of you who are in school right now. and I taught middle and high school English for 6 years and then went to law school. And the wonderful thing about having a prior career and then getting into another one is you get to take the things that you learned from that prior career and apply it in your new career. And it turns out that the work I was doing as a high school teacher was both great preparation for law school itself. I was a high school English teacher, and a lot of what lawyers do is close reading and writing. And then I was able to take those skills on into my job. So that's a benefit. You don't have to start out and be forever in the first career that you have. And now I'm a lawyer, and a lot of my work is, guess what, with educational institutions. And I work with school administrators and teachers. I actually happen to spend more time on school campuses than I do in a courtroom most of the time. And that's unusual for lawyers. So it just shows you how perhaps life, if with any luck, is long. You can do a lot of things and take the skills that you learn at the beginning of the career and apply them at different places.
On to Jeff.
Hey, everybody, and thanks for coming here. So excited to have you. Like Wade, I've had a little bit of a twisty-turny career. I went to a 4-year college with no clear plan, had graduated with a double major in political science, U.S. history, and a minor in philosophy.
Wow.
The only thing I was qualified to do upon graduation was play Jeopardy or go to law school. So off to law school I went. I was a litigation attorney for about a decade until I realized I didn't enjoy fighting with people. So I went out and I got my real estate license. I sold luxury homes for 5 years in a small mountain town in Colorado until I realized I didn't like working nights and weekends for other people. Hey, it's Christmas Eve. You want to go see a house? No, not really. I want to be with my family. So when my family and I moved here to Greenville, I knew that I wanted to start a business. I have a background as a painter. My father is a professional painter, somebody I affectionately call a Chuck in a truck, but I wanted to grow a real business that could help a lot of people along the way. And so about a year ago, I started That One Painter. We do residential and commercial repaints, decks, fences, cabinets, and a little bit of commercial mixed in there.
Good afternoon. Like Amy said, my name is Lauren Nicholas, and I'm the Executive Artistic Director of Center Stage and CEO there. I grew up in Philadelphia. I'm not actually from here. I came down here about 20 years ago for school, and I just loved it so much that I stayed, and I've adopted a little bit of a Southern accent. But in Philadelphia, like Amy said, my mother went to college. She got a degree in education. My father did not. He actually joined the Army. And when we were talking about what I was going to do with my future, I knew from the time I was 15 that this is what I was going to do. And I've pursued that hard since I was 15. But it did take some convincing because, like I said, no one in my family, well, my mother got a bachelor's degree, but nobody had really pursued the level of education I was going to pursue and had planned to pursue. No one had studied the arts or anything like that in my family. And so I really had to kind of make my own path in what I was doing. But I did decide, just through talking to some other people, I found people like me who decided from an early age that they were going to pursue the arts. I talked to them, got advice from people who were my mentors, and then decided to look into some schools. I came down here because the schools are so wonderful for the arts here in Greenville, and came down here, found my people again, and really dug in and studied theater. And that's where I decided to spend the rest of my time working towards this job, running a theater. In order to get this job, I knew I had to beat out some other obstacles. I had to get certain degrees and get certain experience in order to get to this point. So I spent a lot of my time working towards that and really just being there, showing up for people who need something, especially when things get hard. If you're the person that's still there and still working hard and still determined, what I've learned is that people never forget that. People will come back to you if you're the one that's working hard and showing up. So continuing to show up is really what I attribute to my success.
Love it. All right. I'm also going to share a little bit about career days and how important they are. I'm Amy Wood. I'm a local news anchor. I too, kind of like you, had this vision that this is what I wanted to do. But I didn't have that until I went to a career day. So here's what happened. I showed up at a career day. I did the tour of a local newspaper, and the man was writing a headline, and I just piped up and said, "That doesn't make sense," which probably, I don't know if it was the best move, but it turned out it was, because he then asked me what I would write, and a week later called my teacher and said, "She has some instincts for journalism. I'd like her to, if she's interested, to come after school and just hang out with us, and, we'll mentor her and let her try to do some things in journalism." My point being, not a brag, just a ask questions today. Don't be afraid to say the wrong thing. Everyone here is here to help you. We are so excited to have you here exploring your futures and figuring it out, and even if you think you have it figured out, you'll be surprised sometimes at the twists and turns, like our panelists have said that you will have. So the challenges I have for you are, number one, ask questions today. Don't be afraid. Number two, make a LinkedIn account and start to build your LinkedIn account. That's like social media for professionals. And as you meet people that you think are going to be, maybe somebody you could reach out to with a question later, or could introduce you to someone down the road, connect with them now. Like after today, send them an email after this event and say, "Hey, I really enjoyed what you said about blah, blah, blah. I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn in case I have any questions as I pursue my career." Because trust me, as you start to study what you want to do, you will have questions. And the third thing is to just have a lot of fun today. Don't be afraid, and just enjoy it. I mean, we're all in this together, and there's nothing you can say that's wrong. It's just going to be a great opportunity to explore. All right, so let's go back. I want each of you to go back now to this moment. Like, you guys are what, juniors, seniors, sophomores? What, anybody in a freshman era? No, just sophomores and juniors? All right, so remember where you were at that time, what you were feeling and thinking, and maybe do a comparison of sort of how you relate to the position a lot of them are in right now, and how the journey evolved from that initial maybe confusion or wonder or whatever. Wade?
This is a tough question. I remember around junior or senior year of high school, I went to a school that was really, really strong in English and science and math. And that was one of my interests. And I really enjoyed science and math, but I didn't have a strong sense that that was where my interests lay, at least in that world of sort of in healthcare or something like that. But I was very interested in history, and that was not as much of a strength of the school that I went to. And so I was really keen at your age. I had a natural interest in that and wanted to pursue that in college. And so I had more of a sense of what subjects I wanted to study than what I wanted to do with that learning that I would be getting. And so that's what I would encourage you in part today too. I mean, it's very hard to know what you want to do for a career until you're actually doing it. And we're going to try to give you some glimpse of that today. But what you may have some sense of already is what subjects really fire your imagination and get you passionate and make you want to read and want to work hard and want to stay up late working on a project or a paper or an idea. And I would say latch on to that and find the teachers within that world. And probably in many cases, I think a career can sort of organically come out of that, because once you study history or whatever subject is firing your imagination, you may well run into the sort of people that give you an idea about how you make a living and still retain that passion for that type of knowledge, because you want to go into something and into a field of study where you can be successful. And I think the career can kind of naturally follow from that.
I love that. That's some good stuff. Funny story. So I grew up in a small town, graduated with 57 people. It's kind of like Pleasantville. You couldn't pick your nose without your mom finding out 5 minutes later, kind of a thing. And so one of my best buddies, his dad was the guidance counselor. And so he knew firsthand what knuckleheads we were, growing up, right? And so I go into his office. He says, "Jeff, what are you thinking about? Where are you going to go?" I was like, "Mr. Morris, I don't know. What should I do?" And he points to a picture behind me, and it has Barnum and Bailey, the circus thing. He's like, "Jeff, I think you should apply there." Okay, well, he wasn't much of a help, right? And so, like Wade, I was really good with words, not so great with numbers, and so I pursued a liberal arts education, again, with no clear direction as to what I wanted to do. Here's the cool thing about where you are, though. Like, not only today, but over the next coming years, like, you have opportunities to ask people questions, and I promise you, adults want to help. We would love nothing more than to help you learn where the landmines are and figure out, learn from our mistakes, right? So to Wade's point, follow things that you really enjoy, find people that are working those fields and say, "Tell me about it. What can you tell me, the good, the bad, and the ugly?" The other thing I can tell you is you do have a long runway ahead of you. And so learning about the things that you don't like and don't want to do are almost as important, if not more important, than figuring out pursuing the things that you do want to do. And the only way that you're going to figure that out is by trying. So good luck. Circus College, not for everybody, but it may be for some people. Check it out.
So at 15, like I said, I decided I was going to do this. I didn't come upon that decision lightly, just out of the blue. I actually relied on, like I said, mentors and people who were in my life who could help me kind of suss out what I loved and what was interesting to me. Like you were saying, ask questions, really try to find out what you are going to have a passion for the rest of your life, and not just something that is kind of a whim, because that's not the rest of your life is really long. Like you're saying, this is only the beginning of the rest of your life. But at the same time, you don't have to know exactly what you're going to do right now. Feel it out, make the right decision, take the time to make the right decision. There's no reason to rush into it. There's a long runway ahead of you, right? Yeah.
The knowing what you don't want to do or aren't good at is also such a great point, because it helps to kind of narrow the field, right? And passion, finding the things that light you up, that make you come alive. And I loved what I think Wade said it, that you don't want to have to feel like you're working at something. I remember when I was young, I wanted to be a singer. And then I went to a school where I could sing and take lessons, and all of that work at singing made me hate it. And I realized that was not my thing. So that was a discovery where I said, oh my gosh, I need to find something that I don't mind working hard at and learning more about that still is enjoyable. And that is when the journalism thing happened at that career day for me. So that was an important distinction. All right, let's talk about biggest roadblocks you guys have encountered, maybe that they will encounter along the way. Wade, what was your biggest? I always give it to you first, and they get all this time to think about it, and you get stuck answering immediately. But what are you thinking when it comes to maybe a roadblock that got in your way and you somehow found your way around it?
Well, I'll say this, that a lot when I'll focus on the career that I'm in now and being a lawyer. When I was in a law school that had a lot of people from all over the country, and many of my classmates, I went to work for a judge for a year, which is a great apprenticeship program. Many of my classmates went to big law firms in big cities, New York, Chicago, DC in particular. And I would say very few of them have ended up staying in the jobs that they initially took. Only a very handful of people get to the sort of senior levels at the big law firms. And one obstacle would be sort of figuring out where in your career, as whatever you do, you actually have a particular niche, because the scope or the variety of careers or the variety of types of careers, even within the particular occupation that you choose to pursue, can be really diverse. I gave you the example, right, of that I actually spend more time on college and school campuses than I do in courtrooms. You probably wouldn't think that about a lawyer. There are certainly lawyers that are in court every day, and there's some that are never in court and are behind a computer doing deal work. So I would say one obstacle is just, even once you figured out what career you want to do, where do you want to practice that and in what sort of setting? I mean, I'm at a law firm that has about 40, 45 lawyers. Most of my colleagues from law school, went to these big firms that have thousands and thousands of lawyers all over the country. I would not have been happy doing that. But it is kind of an obstacle trying to figure out, all right, where do I fit in this occupation that I've found? And a nice thing about, in the example of lawyers, is you actually get to try out things during the summer. You get to go to apprenticeship programs and internships and things like that. And you can say, do I fit in here? Do I fit in there? I'd keep your options open. A lot of lawyers work in-house for a company. Maybe that's where you want to be if you were a lawyer. So I think one obstacle, it maybe is daunting enough to figure out the occupation, but then where within that occupation and all the sorts of careers that occupation might even allow, do you find your place? And I think that requires a certain amount of self-awareness that you're beginning to develop already, I hope, about where you thrive and then where you can find that within that occupation.
Yeah, the biggest obstacles I think for me were of my own making, right? I did a lot of stuff early on in my career that were expected of me. Go to college, it was expected of me. Find a job after college, well, I think that's expected of everybody, right? You got to find a way to pay the rent. But I followed something that it wasn't truly my heart. It was something I was good at. But not something that I particularly enjoyed doing. Followed that into real estate, mainly as a means. Realtors are kind of like baby attorneys, so the barrier to entry for me was relatively low to get into real estate. But it wasn't until I listened to my heart and found something that I'm truly passionate at. Right? Like what's the saying? You referenced it. It was something like, follow whatever you love and you'll never work a day in your life, or something to that effect, right? I work every day. I work after my kid goes to bed. I work on the weekends, but I'm having a great time doing it. And that's because I love doing it. Point of all this bloviating is try to really listen to what you got in here, because I think that's going to eliminate a lot of the self-imposed roadblocks that you have along the way, be it family expectations or circumstances, because those things can all be worked through, but only if you're listening to your heart.
Yeah, I think my obstacles were probably mostly because of the circumstances in the industry that I chose. So theater is a highly competitive industry, the entertainment industry in general. If you're going to pursue, even if you're pursuing music in performance, it's going to be very competitive. So you have to kind of set yourself up to be the best pick in a lineup of people. So there are certain things I had to accomplish. And I learned that because I was asking questions and finding people who were where I wanted to be and asking them how they got there. The first thing being in theater and in the arts, there's a degree called an MFA, which is a Master of Fine Arts. It's a PhD level equivalent of a practical art form. So essentially, if you have that degree, you will have seniority wherever you go. You could teach, you could run a business, you could have your own company. There's lots of different options if you are able to get that. In theater, it is very difficult to get that because most schools only accept 2 people a year or maybe every 3 years. But I decided, okay, well, obviously that's what's going to set me apart if I can get that. So I'm going to pursue it until enough doors have slammed in my face that I know that I shouldn't be pursuing this. So I also had to convince my parents. Like I said, no one in my family had gone into the arts at all, and it is it is heartbreaking because you're going to deal with failure, and that's any industry. You're going to deal with failure, and how you cope with it and overcome it will tell you whether or not you're going to make it, if you're going to be able to continue down that path. So I applied for schools right out of my undergrad degree, did not get in at all. I was very upset about that, but I found a school that would offer a full scholarship with a stipend as well. So then the next year I just focused on that school, and I made sure I talked to the teachers at that school, made sure they knew who I was, that I was interested, and I kept applying until they finally just got so sick of me asking them for an interview that they gave me an interview. And at the interview, I made sure that they knew that I was the best option for that program, and I got in. And I went to Texas. I went to Baylor University in Texas. I got that MFA. And that has set me apart. No matter where I go from now on, it will set me apart. And then I came back to Greenville. I had made connections with Center Stage before I left to go to Texas. Came back to Greenville and asked the executive, it was probably presumptuous of me to ask this, but I asked the executive artistic director if she had a job for me, not knowing, what the situation was. And she said, "Oh, I think I can figure something out." And so I said, "I'll work for free. Just employ me." So I did work for free for a little bit, came back to the organization, but that made me competitive and I was able to make myself invaluable to the organization. Another big obstacle that happened was the pandemic. So in theater, especially, theaters closed for a year, 18 months. We weren't able to we weren't able to operate in our usual way for businesses. In 2020, I was on staff at Center Stage, still getting paid by that point, on staff at Center Stage, and the pandemic happened. The previous leader said, "I don't see a way through this." And the board turned to me and said, "Well, what are you doing? What can you do in this situation?" I said, "I don't know, but what have we got to lose? Let's try it." So we found a way through that day by day. And we're here now. We had the most successful year ever in Center Stage history last year.
Yay.
So
Great.
yes, so it's just continuing forward. And when those obstacles hit, just keep going. Put one foot in front of the other.
All right. For those who are headed on, and it sounds like many of you are going on to technical school or higher education of some sort, let's talk about your maybe best advice for success, like something that you maybe didn't realize and you said, "Oh, wow, I need to tell other people about this," because you definitely need to do this, that, and the other. Wade, what is your best advice for students as they go into this new world of higher education?
Well, I already said follow a subject that you're interested in, but let me say something that will maybe be a little bit more controversial and perhaps stir you up a little bit. My best advice for you right now, and this is looking at myself and my own weaknesses, is start living your life outside of your phone. If you are glued to that screen all the time and you are developing an attention span that is the length of a TikTok video, that is not going to do you good in any career that you're going into. And I say that from someone who can look at my phone right now and waste, 30, 45 minutes on Facebook or whatever, which I know is dated for you, all of you, but YouTube. I would say it is absolutely critical that you lean into learning how to be a human being who can relate to other people in a powerful, meaningful way. And I think right now, I see that as a real weakness, both in myself. It's already kind of corrupting me. I think it's got to be even more powerful for you because as you were growing up, your parents were looking down at their screens all the time, teaching you that what was going on there was actually more important than what was going on between human beings. So I would say my best advice right now, lean out of the phone, lean into human relationships and develop those in a meaningful way. And that will do you great service in whatever career you go into, because I think AI is going to be doing all that computer stuff, but you've got to learn how to relate to human beings and develop that as strongly as you can.
Well said, well said. There's a corollary to that. And that is hard work, right? And this is coming from somebody with an undergrad, a law degree, a real estate license, painting and wall covering and drywall license. You can't do that if you're in your phone all the time, right? I graduated 7 out of 229 kids in my law school class, and that's because I was in the law library every single night, every single day, reading while my other classmates were out partying. And that's fine, it's fun for them, but getting to graduate summa cum laude and, the cool little tassels that you have and whatever, it was kind of cool. It set me up really well for success later as an attorney. Now I've got experience as a painter, but do you know how many different kinds of paint there are, right? Like Brett can tell you, how many different kinds of sheens in between each company and, the proper application to prepare the surface for painting and all that. Like, I'm learning all over again. Point is, if you're in your phones all the time and not taking advantage of your most valuable resource, which is time, to better yourself in whatever field it is you're pursuing, you might not get the result that you're looking for. So invest in yourself by taking the time to truly become a master at whatever it is that you're pursuing.
Yeah, I think I have a similar response as well. Just continuing to make yourself the best version of you. Whatever you can do to be the best version of you will lead you to success, no matter what that looks like, whether it's linear or not. A lot of times getting to where you want to go is not a straight shot. You kind of have to take some curves with it too. But you will get to where you're supposed to be if you continue to focus on being the best version of who you're supposed to be.
I have a friend who is starting a podcast. He's a CBS News correspondent, and it is called something to the effect of This Person Believed in Me. So my question to you guys is, who was it? Like, not mom and dad, not, grandma, but like somebody in the world that was sort of significant that said, you can do this, whether they became a mentor or just even the moment that it created for you that sort of was important. Who was it for you, Wade, that believed in you?
This is actually an easy one for me. I had a fabulous, fabulous teacher at South Carolina named James Cutzinger. He died about 6 years ago, but he saw something in me that nobody else did. And he saw a light that I don't even think was there. And more importantly, how that manifested was both time that he spent with me, and instead of just saying, check, this is a great paper, he ripped up my papers. I mean, lots of red marks on it. And it was painful because I was learning about my own weaknesses as well as my strengths. But somebody that will care enough to do that is somebody you ought to seek out in college and find that person, because I owe so much to him.
I think probably nearly any career that you end up choosing is going to be related to relationships. And there's no better time to start than now. And it's something, Amy, that you were talking about, like develop those relationships. When the town I grew up in, 2,500 people, there's a college there. Every elementary kid got a big brother or big sister from the college. So my big brother ended up becoming an attorney. And I had no idea 20 years later that I'd be considering law school. And so when I called up Vance and said, hey, I'm thinking about law school, but I don't want to spend all this money on an education I'm not sure that I want. Can you help me out? And he offered to have me come work for him as a paralegal for a couple of years before I went off to law school. Point is this. You don't know today who the mentor for tomorrow is going to be. And so the relationships that you're able to develop today, literally today, may end up helping you 5, 10, 20 years down the road.
I actually have quite a few people in my life that I would say really helped me and mentored me and told me you can do this. But one of the first people I can think of, I actually coached gymnastics for a while. So through high school, from the time I was 14 through high school and into college, I coached gymnastics, and I worked at a gym doing that. And when I was probably 15 or 16, my boss took the time to sit down with me and ask, what are your goals? What are your long-term goals? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And how can I help you get there? And I wasn't going to end up being a world-class gymnast. That's not what he was getting at. He was trying to figure out how to help me become the leader that I am now. And I really appreciate that he even saw that potential in me, because I was a very shy and soft-spoken person at that point. When I was 14, I was incredibly shy and would not talk to people I didn't know. Certainly would not have done this. But my boss took the time to just sit down and say, you could be a leader if you want to be. So how can I help you do that? And that really kind of set me on my journey to find leadership and management.
And let's talk about this. kind of is similar, imposter syndrome. Has anyone ever felt imposter syndrome? Do you feel imposter syndrome today, like sitting in this room? Sometimes you feel like, do I even belong here? Is this really, can I really ask a question? Whatever. I'm sure all of you at some point, somewhere on your journey, walked into a room and were like, what am I doing here? How am I doing this? Wade, when did you experience imposter syndrome and how'd you overcome it?
Well, the law school that I went to was in the South, but by far most of the students were not. And I realized there for the first time that I really had a strong Southern accent. And they would usually tease me about that. And I do think some of what comes along with that is maybe assumptions about your background or educational level or things of that sort. But I later realized actually that accent and other quirks of personality that I have and that you have too are also strengths. And there's many people that admire that or find it charming as they do that maybe find it off-putting. So, don't run away from being you, I would say, and particularly in that kind of circumstance, because if you stand out, that actually may be something that is a good thing and people remember you more for it.
Love that. Imposter syndrome. When was the last time? Like now?
Okay, there
Maybe,
you go.
right? Like there's so many more qualified Rotarians to be speaking to you today than me. But all the time, I think there's a really fine line between fake it till you make it and telling somebody you don't know, right? Something I learned early on in my law career is that it's better to tell somebody I don't know, but I'm going to figure that out for you, than to bullshit your way out of it, because that could be malpractice, right? That's bad news. On the other hand, learning is new, right? Little kids don't get embarrassed when they fall on their face and they're learning to walk. And somewhere along the way, we learned that you're going to get laughed at if you try something that you're not good at. And so having a beginner's mindset in whatever you're doing, I think will allow you to get over that imposter syndrome a little bit more quickly. It's not going to take the sting out of it, right? But it may help you get over it a little bit more quickly. And when you can learn to laugh at yourself and learn from your mistakes and view those as an opportunity to improve, the easier it's going to become.
Yeah, I guess I would say every day. This is an ongoing thing. I don't think it ever really goes away. No matter how confident you become, there's always that little voice of doubt, right? That we all deal with. And as soon as you realize everyone's dealing with that, the sooner you can feel a little bit better about it and breathe a little bit more. I think especially when, like I mentioned, when the pandemic happened, the previous leaders stepped down and there was an opening for the position that I'm in right now. I had the worst imposter syndrome and actually took the board of directors over an hour to convince me to apply for the position because I was trying to get out of it somehow. But their belief in me helped me realize that I was being silly. I think if you focus on the facts and focus on, again, that everyone is learning, no one is perfect, everyone makes mistakes, then you can relax into the humanity of what you're doing. You are not expected to be perfect. You're not expected to know all the answers. But as long as you approach each day with that learning mentality, you can't really lose, because if you make a mistake, you can say, I'm learning from this and I'm going to get better the next day.
Our panel, amazing. Thank you so much for answering questions for our students. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Well, I just walked in the door about 5 minutes ago. For those that don't know me, I am Christine Amin. I am the president of this club. And unfortunately, part of my job is to go to court. And I often have court on Tuesday mornings. So thank you, Roger, for, I don't know, is it pitch hitting or pinch hitting? Pinch hitting. Thank you, Roger, for pinch hitting for me. Thank you, Amy, so much for being here. It's always lovely to have you here. As a gift to Dr. Graham for speaking today from Greenville Tech, we will be giving a book to Alexander Elementary School. We've been doing that for a couple of years now, and they certainly appreciate it. So thank you for being here. Thank you very much, Pam, for putting this together, and Elizabeth. You guys do a great job every year. So many of you celebrate Lent every year, and a part of Lent is to give up something that you like, usually. And so Pope Leo posted something that I thought was interesting. He said, I would like to invite you to a very practical and frequently unappreciated form of abstinence, that of refraining from words that offend and hurt our neighbor. And I wanted to close with that today. Pam, does everybody have instructions of what they're supposed to do? Okay. Help me out here.
So how about this? Well, Christine will lead us in the 5-way test that Terry will put up on the screen. And then I'd like everybody to just sit still for a minute and I'll tell you where you're going. And then I would like any Rotarian who is not going to help facilitate, I'll use Wade's words from a couple years ago. I want you to skedaddle out of here and go have your conversations in a different part of the hotel. But let's do the 4-way test and everybody sit still and I'll give you directions.
Okay, thanks. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And will it be fun? Okay, everybody sit back down.
Okay, I'll ring the bell after we have our directions. Okay, first of all, students, look around at your table, see the stuff that's there for you, take it. Take the pens, take the papers, take whatever's there. It's meant for you. It's not for me to take home. And it's all cool stuff. Okay, these groups will be leaving the ballroom. And actually, maybe getting up and going there is a good time now. Architecture and construction is going to DP3 Architects. Scott Powell is going to meet you near check-in, which is outside this door. Why don't you guys go ahead and go? Arts, AV, Tech, and Communication, Channel 7 Newsroom, Amy Randall and Amy Wood and Rob Rowan also meet near check-in. Why don't you guys go ahead and go? Education and Training is going to the Symphony Boardroom. Steve Argo is your lead host. Again, meet out here where you checked in. Law, Public Safety, Corrections, and Security is going to Weiss Law Firm. Why don't you meet at the left of the podium, which would be this left over here. Marketing, Sales, and Service is going to Center Stage with David Slade as the lead. Why don't you meet at the right of the podium over here. And then staying at the Westin, but leaving the ballroom, the people that go on an amazing tour with Fabian is you're going to meet at the back of the room, just way back there with Fabian. Social Services, you'll have 2 rooms that are going to be up on the mezzanine. Meet over here by the door to the mezzanine with Derek Lewis and Lisa O'Connell. Half of you will go to the Palmetto room and half of you will go to the Furman room. Everybody else is going to stay in the ballroom. So you guys just sit still for a minute and then you can readjust so that you can easily talk at your table. Okay, everybody take your places.